Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, My So-Called Healthy Life, where I read meditations on a daily basis and we discuss them to kind of rebalance our life a little bit. And if you've been watching, I have not uploaded a video from the Pieces Every Step book recently. I'm very stuck in that book right now. I don't know, it's like when I pick it up, I just don't feel super motivated to read it, but I do want to get through it. So if you guys are enjoying those videos, let me know. They feel very much like meditation videos, so I will continue to do them and upload them. Leave in the comment section below if you like it. I may actually put a poll right here or somewhere around here, like should I continue with that book or should I not and just do meditations? I'd really like to know what you guys think about that. So, because I'm trying to do this so that you guys get the most out of it as possible. Today, I am yet again reading from Daily Affirmations for Forgiving and Moving On, Powerful Inspiration for Personal Change by T.N. Dayton, PhD. It's listed below if you'd like to find out more about this book. I've had this book for so long, I was really surprised when I looked it up that it was like still being published, actually. And if you watched my video yesterday, I said that today was dog-eared. Oh my God, there's like two. Oh, and the next one is Connecting Through the Positive. That's like 3 days from now. But anyway, so today's was dog-eared, and I didn't know why, and I haven't read it yet, so I was really excited about reading it, because I was like, well, if I dog-eared it, I never dog-ear books. We don't treat our books that way. I was like, it must have meant a lot to me. So we are going to read Releasing Old Hurt today. Today, I really see what carrying anger and rage from situations that occurred decades ago has done to me in my present life. I have dumped not anger but rage from early wounds on those who surround me today and have seen them as responsible for that pain. When I am really willing to look at the depth of the wounds that I carry from living in a dysfunctional home, I can begin to let the past go. It is different from feeling sorry for myself, to admit the full extent of my hurt and fear of abandonment. It is giving myself a chance to live in today by seeing yesterday, not as I wish it had been, but how it was for me, understanding that no one meant for it to be that way, it just happened. I see my hurt for what it was. And today's quote is by Marcus Aurelius. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your own estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Really interesting quote, isn't it? Or really interesting meditation, isn't it? In counseling, it's interesting for me to talk about patterns in my life, and that I grew up in a lot of chaos with my mother as an alcoholic. So for me, chaos and arguing is very comfortable for me, and then the making up is very comfortable for me. So for example, my mom and I would always, as I was growing up, argue a lot, and then like immediately like hug and kiss, and I love you, I love you, I love you. And it was almost like the arguing had to happen before the loving could occur, if that makes sense. So for me, I carry that into relationships as a pattern, and it's very dangerous and very destructive to the relationships that I'm in, because a lot of times I'll be in an argument and I don't know why I'm doing it. But really what I'm craving is the end, is that loving unconditional love, that unconditional feeling of no matter what, no matter the argument or whatever. And you know, what's interesting is that my husband was not raised in that kind of environment. You know, his language is completely different. So he doesn't need to go through the argument to get to that point. He would rather me just come right out and ask me, you know, to say like, I need to feel some validation today, and then he can do that. So it's changing that and letting go of that anger from the past, you know? And I think that one of the things that's interesting is here is the quote that it says, it is giving myself a chance to live in today by seeing yesterday, not as I wish it had been, but how it was for me, understanding that no one meant for it to be that way, it just happened. You know, acceptance is such a key value in my life today. And for me, acceptance is looking at events that happened in my past, not wishing they had happened differently, but accepting that they happened exactly the way that they were supposed to happen at that moment to bring me to the place that I'm at today. Does that make sense? And when we're growing and when we're, you know, trying to be better individuals, more compassionate, more empathetic, we can look at the past pain that we went through and realize that it all served a purpose in our life. But if we're not willing to acknowledge that, and we just stay in anger and finger pointing, and you did this to me, and I can't believe you did this to me, and why do you continue this to me, then we're not acknowledging the pain that we went through, and we're not acknowledging, you know, how much that anger hurt us over time. And that's really detrimental to our own growth, you know? And it's that whole idea that we're allowing people to rent space in our head for free. You know, that we're not allowing ourselves to grow at the expense of other people. That most of the time, the anger that we have towards them, they don't even feel on a daily basis, yet it's causing us such overwhelming emotional abuse to ourselves, if that makes sense. So sometimes, you know, the whole idea of letting it go and moving through is not for the other person. I've never been a believer that forgiveness is for the other person. I believe that forgiveness is for me. Forgiveness is for me because it allows me to start healing, you know? And when my mom got sober, it was really hard for me at first to let go of that anger of, do you know what you did? My childhood is over. I'm sorry. Thank you for the amends, but you can't go back and replace my childhood. But eventually what I had to realize was that I had to go through all of that to be able to have the loving relationship that I had with her at the end, and to also forgive her for her past, you know, errors. Had she never gotten sober, I don't really know how that would have worked out in my life, but I eventually think that I would have been able to grow through that, hopefully, you know, at some point. I also know that when I got sober and I got out of treatment, my mom was one of the people that I called immediately, and I said, you know, they tell me that I have to change my people, places, and things, and that includes you. And she had a really hard time hearing that. She's like, you really, me? And I'm like, if you continue to drink, you're not somebody that I can be around. Number one, it's not healthy for me. Number two, it reminds me of my childhood, and I can't have that around me. So her getting sober really helped with that. One of the reasons why I get on here and I tell my story about what I went through with my mom and what I went through with my own addiction issues is trying to help somebody else. And so I can use my wounds and turn them into wisdom. And hopefully somebody out there will say, oh my God, I so relate to that, you know, and I have so much pain from my childhood, or pain from a past relationship, or pain from a work environment. I have a lot of pain from a work environment where I never feel like I got the validation that I needed, you know? And why I continue to need that, those patterns go way back to my childhood. I was actually just speaking about this a lot on my daily vlog, Peter Vlogs is listed below if you're interested, about how I've had these same patterns that go through my life. And when something happens to us today and we're feeling a lot of emotional pain, the question to ask ourselves is, when was the last time I felt that? And so like if you go through a breakup and you feel to yourself like, you know, like, I'm not, like, they didn't love me, I'm not good enough, why am I not good enough? You go back to the last time you felt that, I'm not good enough. When was it? Okay, so it was the last relationship I was in. Well, then you go back again, it was the last work environment. Then it was my mom, then it was my grandma. And you go all the way back to that first feeling, that first emotion, you know, like I never felt like as a child, this is not my experience, I'm just saying. You go back to that very first feeling of like as a child saying, I wasn't good enough, nobody loved me. And that's right there the key to this pattern that has woven through my entire life. And if I'm willing to fix that, then I really have a chance. And it's willing to take a look at that and really allow myself to feel that pain in a constructive way and begin to work on that. And that's really the key. But to hold on to that anger does us more damage than it does to anybody else. So I hope that helped you guys. I hope that makes some sense. It's a great meditation book. I forgot all about it. I love you guys so much. Let me know what you think about the Pieces Every Step book. Should we let it go and move on to something else and just do the meditations and little talks about issues that are going on in our lives? Or should I continue with it? I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.